well as we slowly creep forward to the inevitable doom that is the Rangs of Prime.
But why? Why would you do that? Why would you do any of that?
We see that more and more information's coming out, and it's going to be dead on arrival. We have this article here from Empire Magazine with another exclusive for the Rangs of Prime. Lenny Henry plays Harfoots Sadok Barrows in Lord of the Rings, The Rangs of Prime. We're the traditional Tolkien little guys, exclusive. Traditional? That seems odd.
Don't ask questions. Just consume product and then get excited for next products.
Well, there are 3 types of hobbits. Stoor, Fallohide, and Harfoot hobbits. And Tolkien specifically told us what each of these hobbits were, what they looked like, and what they actually contributed to this world. And what did we get instead from the Rangs of Prime? Yeah.
Well, that's definitely shite.
Boy, this is interesting. Doesn't look anything like the old descriptions that Tolkien gave us.
Don't ask questions. Just consume product and then get excited for next products.
In a hole in the ground there lived a hobbit. Right from the very first sentence in the very first Middle-earth book, it's self-titled The Hobbit. Hobbits have been a fixture in Tolkien stories. Is that so? So when the showrunners J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay first set out to tell a story in the Hobbit-free second age of Middle-earth for Prime's video streaming series, The Lord of the Rings, The Rangs of Prime, Peter Jackson's film, the original novels, are set thousands of years earlier in the Third Age, they were faced with a conundrum. How do you conjure the world without featuring the most notable inhabitants? So you've just contradicted yourself straight away.
You serious?
Hobbits have been a fixture of Tolkien stories. How do you conjure that world without featuring the most notable inhabitants?
Go ahead. Make a fool of yourself. Then maybe you'll listen to your conscience.
What? What are you talking about? You've literally contradicted yourself in 2 sentences. You say one thing, then you say another thing. You do not understand the works of Tolkien. The answer was the Harfoots. Or the Stoors, or the Fallohides. But, let's be honest, this is thousands of years before those events where they sort of popped out and first started getting noticed in the world. So, how do you tell a story about something that doesn't actually really come about in the Second Age, like you just previously stated?
Do I really look like a guy with a plan?
Beings who featured in the original Tolkien lore as the Hobbits' predecessors. Wrong.
Earliest hobbits were divided into 3 groups, each with their own unique characteristics.
These have famous furry feet and short stature, but they haven't settled in the Shire yet.
One more peep out of you and you are grounded, mister, and I am not joking.
Oh, and one of them, by the name of Sadok Barrows, is played by none other than Lenny Henry.
Do we have to put up with this? I mean, can't we get a better actor? I know it's a small part, but I think we can do better than this.
We're a nomadic tribe, moving with the weather and the fertility of the crops. We have big caravans on wooden wheels, and we're very good at hiding things because humans are much bigger than us and bring trouble, Henry tells Empire of the Harfoots' way of life.
What is 5 times 2? Come on, children, don't be shy. Just give it your best shot. Yes, Clyde.
12?
Okay, now let's try to get an answer from someone who's not a complete retard.
It's very different to what Tolkien told us about the Harfoots.
They enjoyed highlands and hillsides and began the practice of living in hobbit holes, also known as smiles. They tended to find comfort in settling in one place for longer periods of time.
And while we're not exactly hobbits, hobbit adjacent, they're still playing hobbit-like roles, because you are hobbits. You are hobbits. Oh boy, the 3 groups of hobbits.
Stop! He's already dead!
We are the traditional Tolkien little guy, explains Henry. Traditionally, the little people in the world provide comedy. Didn't they save the world in Lord of the Rings? Very different to what I've been told and read. But also they get to be incredibly brave. You're going to see us run the full gamut of emotions and actions in this adventure. For Henry, taking on the role of Sadok Burrows not only allowed him to play in fantasy genre that he loves and butchers, it also offered an opportunity to help shift the needle in the world that previously hasn't tended to feature people of colour in prominent roles. Gee, that's a bit mental. I thought you loved Tolkien's work. If you can't see it, you can't be it. Wow, you're meant to be an actor. That's really bad. You know, I'm not a dwarf, but I sure do understand the dwarfs quite a lot. Taking time and craftsmanship in their work. I really appreciate that. I like working with metal myself. I work a lot with my hands. And yet, I'm not a dwarf. The dwarfs do that day in, day out. But I'm not a dwarf. So how can I be a dwarf?
Don't ask questions. Just consume product and then get excited for next products.
Finally, in this show, kids are going to see people of colour taking up space in the centre of the fantasy series. We're very visible in the world and we're very excited. The Harfoots' journey is about to begin.
And this is where we have the first known historical event of the Hobbits, which they refer to as the Wandering Days. Alarmed at the rise of Dol Guldur and the influx of his servants, the Hobbits begin to travel westward. The Harfoots are the first to leave their homes, coming to Eriador, where they are first recorded in Arnorian records around 1050. These Hobbits are called Perianath, or halflings.
So there's one thing I have to point out here. This is what we're getting in the new Rangs of Prime series. What happened to the genocide and ethnic cleansing of the Shire?
Don't ask questions. Just consume product and then get excited for next products.
Because that's pretty fucked up. So you're telling me the Hobbits aren't the good guys?
Don't have to answer that question.
I'll answer the question. You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth!
So with more and more crazy people saying the same thing, oh, there's no people of colour represented in Tolkien's work. Now, one of the most brilliant stories that I believe I would love to hear, and quite frankly, a lot of us would love to see from a completely different take on what happens and to see what the rings do to people who bear them, I think would be a very interesting story.
What's that film that you love?
What film?
The one about the fucking hairdresser, the space hairdresser and the cowboy. The he's got a tinfoil pal and a pedal bin.
Story is of Camul, one of the 9 ring wraiths, second only to the Witch King of Angmar, and one of the few we actually have a name for the ring wraiths. Now, Camul was an Easterling king. He ruled in ruin, and then succumbed to the ring as a ring bearer. They all start changing, and we see the impact of what happened to Camul, and then he became a ring wraith. Now we see Camul is one of the first times we hear and see a ring wraith.
Baggins is around here. They're up in Hobbits.
Now that moment he speaks to Farmer Maggot, it's pretty terrifying. And just an interesting thing. Wouldn't you have loved to see how Camul, the Witch King's second in command, came to be? A named ringwraith. A king of men that succumbed to the will of the ring and turned into a ringwraith. That is a hell of a story. But here we are again. Didn't happen. We are all racist because we don't want to see the story of the black guy.
Yes.
So, as always, people, please like, comment, subscribe to the channel. I really do appreciate it. The Rings of Prime is going to be terrible, and by God, it's going to get worse and worse as the 2nd of September rolls forward. So, all I have to say now is fuck Amazon, fuck the Rings of Prime, and stay awesome.